G'day, I'm DK.
And I'm Ardeet.
Thanks for joining us for this week's Two Ticks Town Talk, a segment from the Australia Talks podcast.
Yeah, this is one of our favourite parts of bringing the podcast to you, our listeners.
So please enjoy this segment from the regular podcast.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. Across the desert, fair man. I've breathed the mountain air, man. I've traveled, I've had...
All right, let's stay in the Northern Territory. In fact, let's stay near Darwin. We're off to Humpty Doo. And yes, that is a real name. I know we've got a few funny names in Australia, but yeah, Humpty Doo. It's a town up in Northern Territory, about 38 k's, about 25 miles southeast of the capital, Darwin. And it's on the Arnhem Highway, which serves as a primary gateway for tourists taking off to Kakadu National Park if they're going from Darwin. Got a population of around about 5,000, and a lot of them work in the Darwin metropolitan area. So the origin of the name Humpty Doo, it's not definitively established. There's a couple of theories. There's apparently a pastoral property in the area named Humpty Doo. Some linguistic theories suggest it may be a corruption of the Woolner Aboriginal word Humpty Doo, meaning resting place. And another theory is that it's a variation of a vernacular expression of the time, Humpty Doo, meaning upside down or in disarray. So whichever way it is, it's Humpty Doo now. And it's you might also, it's got the big boxing crocodile up there, which, you know, is another one of the big sculptures that we have in Australia, but it's something that people would probably recognise. About 13 metres tall, a big icon there, commissioned in 1987, and it was inspired by the 1983 America's Cup boxing kangaroo. So, yeah, it's an identifiable thing for Humpty Doo. Prior to the European exploration, the region was the traditional land of the Woolner Aboriginal people, and they've been there for evidence, 40,000 years at least, and they just managed the complex ecosystem of the Adelaide River floodplains and did the seasonal wet and dry cycles, harvesting resources. So their cultural and spiritual connection is to the wetlands, and that remains sort of a foundational aspect of their local history. The European involvement began in 1864 when Boyle Travers Finnis explored the Adelaide River, and then in 1869 Surveyor General George Goyder subdivided the land into large 10 square mile parcels. There was early experimental attempts at agriculture during the 1870s and 80s with a botanist, Dr. Maurice Holtz, testing tropical crops in the region. And during that time, there was a whole lot of Chinese farmers who had originally come to work. That's funny. Referring to our first story in the Chinese diaspora. Wow. This wasn't planned. I had chosen Humpty Doo before we'd chosen the first topic. So during the same period, Chinese farmers who'd originally come to work in the Pine Creek goldfields, they established small-scale rice farms around Humpty Doo to supply the local mining population and themselves. And there were two things that caught my eye about Humpty Doo, and both of them required a lot of bull. So the first load of bull was from the early politicians seeing selling the potential of the region, saying, look at the soils, look at the rainfall, look at the tropical richness, anything and everything should grow here. They'd cry out, and they'd seen the success of the little rice paddies from the Chinese miners. completely forgot about the disease, the insects, the wild animals, the body's sapping temperatures during the wet, the incredible levels of flooding, rainfall, and cyclones and so on. But that didn't stop the most significant chapter in Humpty Doo's historical development, which was the attempt to transform that Northern Territory into a massive food bowl for Asia. So that plan was centred on the Humpty Doo rice project. There was a Australian-American venture made called Territory Rice. God, that's a little bit of serendipity. Australian-American venture up there. So their vision was that this project, they set this up in 1954, following experiments by the CSIRO. And they had this grand vision. So the company got agricultural leases for over 300,000 hectares of the Adelaide River floodplain. What they wanted to do was use all the abundant monsoon rains to create a commercial rice industry, because we know you need a lot of water for rice with the growing. Create a commercial rice industry that they could export to the growing markets of Southeast Asia. It was framed as a way to develop the North and secure Australia's economic presence in the tropics. So they poured in a shirtload of resources, and in 1956 the RAAF Airfield Construction Squadron was commissioned to build Fog Dam, so they had a reliable water source for the paddies. And it also included a rice camp for workers and construction of roads and bridges, and including the first bridge over the Adelaide River. So they went all in. It was a big sales job. Probably wasn't a bad idea. It sort of made sense. We grow up there. Let's start off with the rice, export it to Asia, and really sort of put ourselves on the map. Unfortunately, it was a total failure.
Oh no!
Yeah. There was a few reasons. There was ecological factors. Planners underestimated the local wildlife. The magpie goose found the crops to just be an ideal food source, descending on the paddies in the thousands and destroying entire harvests. Wild buffaloes thought, I'll have some of that. They came in, destroyed crops. Rats came in and caused damage. Other birds ate the seeds. Then there was environmental mismatch. The soil quality wasn't what they thought. The sheer intensity of the tropical wet season just caused some massive technical difficulties. Floods were often too deep or came at the wrong time for different types of rice they were planting up there, and drainage was a problem. And then finally there was financial and logistical issues. So the scale was just too ambitious for the available technology of the time. The management in place was weak, and ultimately the cost of managing this massive, unpredictable area, it just exceeded the returns from the meagre harvests they were getting. So by 1962, Territory Rice forfeited the land back to the government, and the abandoned rice fields and Fog Dam were eventually converted into the Fog Dam Conservation Reserve, and that now serves as a major bird sanctuary and a tourist attraction. Now, the other part that caught my eye was the Humpty Doo Hotel. Opened in 1971, and it became the epicenter of a unique territorial and cultural phenomenon known as the Darwin Stubby Drinking Contest.
You've got my attention.
Yes! Now, if you haven't seen one, the Darwin Stubby was a 2-litre bottle of beer, so a little bit larger than the 375ml tinny. It was originally 2.25 litres, which is 76 American fluid ounces. And according to Carlton United Breweries, who made this behemoth, the oversized bottle was used because of the logistics of shipping bottles such large distances. Now, the human record for downing a Darwin stubby was by Dog Murdoch, who set a time of 90 seconds.
That's impressive. Wow.
I would just vomit. I'm sorry. I'm not very good at sculling beer, let alone... I don't know if I could physically drink 2 litres. Even if I had 900 seconds, to drink it quickly, I might be able, obviously I could get through 2 litres, but to scull it, no. What about you?
I've just looked it up because I was like, really? Oh, that sounds amazing. But I've looked it up and I have seen these bottles, not for sale, but like in man caves and stuff like that. So it's 2,270 milliliters, which is 80 imperial fluid ounces, which is 77 US fluid ounces for our Americans.
Yep.
I don't think I could scull a whole one of them. I've done like a German Stein glass, which is like a litre. I've done one of them, and that was about as much as I could do. I don't think I could do 2.2 litres in one. Nah.
No.
My problem with these is I feel like it would go warm before you finished it. You would have to start smashing it down.
Or have a ridiculously sized stubby holder. You can almost live in a stubby holder that big. Now, the second bit of bull related to Humpty Doo is the absolute record holder. So the most famous participant in the hotel's history was not a human, but a 600 kilogram Brahman bull named Norman, and he became a local institution during the 1980s. In his peak, he set the record, and he could consume a 2.25 litre Darwin stubby in just 47 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah. Now,
but that's not fair because he's got like 4 stomachs or whatever they have, you know.
Well, yeah. And look, I've put a link in the show notes to this where you can see Norman sculling a Darwin stubby. Now, if you're listening to us on YouTube, which you've just thrown a couple on, for some reason there's some bloody problem with the link. So either check it on the podcast app or go over to Rumble. The links seem to be showing up there. I'm still trying to work that out, so you can get them one way or the other. Or if you really need it, just send us a mail at australiatalks@proton.me and I'll send it out to you. So, following his win in the stubby contest, Norman was reported then to have washed down that 2.25 litres of beer with an additional 6 tinnies and a meat pie.
What a legend! What a legend!
He was a legend, and look, understandably he became a major draw card for the hotel. Often they'd get like 300 tourists rock up to watch him scull the stubby. And his owners, Alan and Bluey Smith, know that while Norman was friendly, he had a distinct handful of a personality and would sometimes wander into neighbours' houses in search of beer.
That sounds like me.
Yeah. Oh, that's bloody DK. Crack a beer and point him to the door. Cheers, guys. See you next time.
Yeah.
So, look, just in case you're worried, Norman didn't get drunk. He apparently did require a clean up behind him afterwards, as cattle do. But no, 600 kilograms. He just loved his beer. So he was long gone, though, before the Darwin stubby was discontinued in 2015. But his legend does live on in Humpty Doo. And so does the grand agricultural vision for the town, with Fog Dam being its ecological legacy. And if you visit our Two Ticks Town Talk town of Humpty Doo today, I think you'll find too that the locals still don't mind a bit of bull.
How cool. I feel like I need to go to the Humpty Doo Hotel next time in Darwin because it is. I didn't realize actually how close it was.
Not far, yeah.
I've just looked it up on the map. Yeah, it's basically just outside of Darwin. I'd imagine if the locals around there probably would tell you that they're from Darwin, sort of thing. But yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, it's close enough. But yeah, it's
funny they held a wake for the demise of the Darwin stubby. And Humpty Doo and Ted Egan was there. He was something like the NT admin representative or something. Do you remember Ted Egan? He used to play the like the cardboard beer box. I don't know. It wasn't called a lagerphone. That's the one with the stick with the tops on. But he would play it like a little drum thing.
Yep,
it's
I know.
Yep, you are. I was going to say you might not be old enough.
No. I know that. Yeah. He'd play the carton box sort of thing.
Yeah.
That was his thing, wasn't it? So
it was.
I mourn the fact I didn't realize that it was discontinued in 2015, and now I'm kind of annoyed because I could have been buying these. Though I've never seen them sold in stores anywhere around me. Because if I did, I would have buy them. I regularly buy, long. There's a lot of names for them. Long necks, tallies. Yeah. The sort of what are they? 1.125 liter beers, I think they are.
Yeah, something like that.
I regularly buy them, but the problem with them is that they get pretty warm. So
yeah.
You can get very large stubby coolers. Oh, sorry, they're 750 mils.
750. Of
750.
course. God, we should have known that.
Because sometimes you get them for 3 for 22, and that's pretty good. That's a good afternoon. 3 of them.
Yeah.
That'll sort you out.
But you're chucking them into a glass, or you're just necking them out of a long neck, are you?
Just straight out of the long neck most of the time. Yep. It makes
like a barbarian.
Like a barbarian. I have to drink them quick because otherwise they warm up. I do have a very large, one of those big Yetis that I do pour it in. If I know I'm not going to drink it too quickly, I'll pour it in.
That's not a bad idea.
And that keeps it cold for a long time because, especially in summer, even up here, I'd imagine in Darwin it'd be a hell of a lot worse as well with that humidity. So, yeah, look, I get it. What do they call it? Responsible drinking and all that crap. Yeah. But, let me have my 2 liters of beer. Not hurting anyone. All right, another one to add to the list, the Humpty Doo Hotel.
Yeah, another one.